Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen. We're here with comic Brandon Follick. Brandon Follick, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you, Brian?
Oh, thank you so much for coming on during this weird-ass time. And during this weird-ass time, where can people find you online? I know I follow you. Your Folic Acid, which is hilarious.
Thanks. Yeah, I always wonder if anyone picks up on that science pun. I made it, back in my very nerdy days. But yeah, I'm on Twitter there. Instagram, it's my name, Brandon_Follick. Yeah, and then I have like a couple links on there if you want to check out the work I do or anything like that.
Yeah, your Twitter takes you to Linktree, which then in turn shows me all your, where I can find your Reductrist articles, and I got them right here. And did you write all these fucking articles, man?
I did, yeah.
Just 4 pages of fucking articles on Reductrist?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are just headlines, but yeah, there's a good number of articles that I've written too. But yeah, that's all my work.
Dude,
there's some other stuff I've done across the site that editors wrote, but yeah.
Wow, because it says how to tell if he's an undercover cop or just another goofy man, and it's got the picture of the goofiest man I've ever seen.
Yeah, I feel I'm also one of those stock photos on the website. We have no control over when they're used and what for. We just kind of wake up one day and we're like, oh yeah, there's me. I'm being called the racist today.
So that guy's another Reductrist contributor.
I don't know if he's a contributor. I know he's an improviser and sketch actor at UCB.
Okay. Well, yeah, he's not goofy, but he has a goofy pose on, so I suppose that's by design.
Yeah, that's just great acting.
And also you're Brandon_Follick on Instagram, and there I see some pictures from. It looks like you have a stand-up show at the Star Bar in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Back when live comedy was legal, my friend Shelby Slower and I used to host a monthly show at Star Bars called Girls. We used to make fun of each other. Like, if anytime we were being a good person, be like, oh yeah, you're being a good girl right now. You're there for women. So we just kind of made a whole stand-up show centered around what makes a girl's girl. Who are we going to welcome to the girlshood this month? It usually ended up being Harry Styles every time. And then just invited some friends kind of all over. We'd have stand-up characters. We'd always have at least one musical act. I know I miss live performance.
Yeah, I would think, if you're doing that every month, I mean, first of all, it must suck not to be able to kind of scratch that itch, although it might be nice not to have to organize. It must, although a monthly show is not as bad as a weekly show, it's got to be an administrative pain in the ass.
Yeah, no, there was a good number of shared Google folders between me and Shelby. I also host a bi-weekly show with Paige Smith Hogan and Michelle Davis.
Oh, my Lord, Paige Smith Hogan is an American treasure.
Truly, we don't deserve Paige Smith Hogan.
I was so dude, she talks so passionately. In defense of fucking Lana Del Rey, and I was like, we need to kind of we need to make copies of Paige Smith Hogan so that everybody is this adorable.
Yeah, every American household needs one Paige Smith Hogan, and that's the future liberals want.
And so she's on. She helps you with your bi-monthly show. You guys do that together.
Yeah, so we co-host it with our friend Michelle Davis, another incredible comedian in New York. We call it Meteor Apocalypse. It's actually based off this kind of weird parody poster I have in my apartment. But it's basically just kind of what are the kind of meteor apocalypse, car crash, terrible tragedies in your life, just kind of unpacking that for us all. It's a safe space to, really just go off on anything.
Is the name going to change now that there has been an apocalypse in the interim?
Oh man, I don't know if I can do that to our brand. We're already so established. But, we might come back soon, which is kind of cool.
How long has the show been going on?
We started it in January or February, so it was still pretty young, but it was every other week, so we got a good number of shows in.
Oh, wow.
And it was at this coffee bar called Fiction Speed near me in Williamsburg.
Okay.
So they just opened up their bar, so it was kind of a fun way to kind of help bring them business and get some community stuff going on.
Good. Now that's an administrative hassle biweekly. I talked to Samantha Bednar's was weekly, and she was like, "Dude, that was the best day." She said something like that. "It's the best day of my life when I finally didn't have to fucking book for a weekly show." My lord.
Yeah, no, people love to drop out 5 minutes in advance. It's kind of a cool trend going on in the city.
What we're gonna talk about real quick is just kind of the way you see the generational differences, because it sounds like you are the oldest of four, and so you can give
Yeah.
me the primer on millennialism and Gen Z.
Yeah, as the kind of ambassador liaison intergenerationally. Yeah, so I'm the oldest of four. I'm the oldest of four boys. I'm 27. My younger brothers are 21, 19, 15.
Wow.
So we're every voting demographic. And yeah, no, there's some stark differences between us. I would actually say my 21-year-old brother leans more towards millennialism with me. 19 and 15-year-olds definitely Gen Z.
And what are the
Like,
differences between those two crews?
so for example, like all my two younger siblings communicate with all their friends via Snapchat. That's like I would say that's the messaging service. What else? TikTok, of course. I'm pretty sure my 15-year-old brother was one of the K-pop stans who booked a seat at the Trump Tulsa rally.
Good job, brother.
Yeah, no, I've never been so proud.
It's like, that's the first cool thing you did, 15-year-old brother.
I know, finally, right? Like, what a way to really kick off your teen years. But
what are some of the temperaments though? Like the temperament differences, patience versus just fucking impatience, and things like attention span and what they value. Like, are they more into social justice than maybe the Gen Z, or like are they more caring of liberal issues than other generations? Do they think this stuff matters?
yeah, absolutely. Like my 15-year-old brother, like I'm actually kind of surprised like how well he's able to like think critically about gender identity.
Wow.
Like I don't even know if my 20-year-old brother knows male, female, like if that's a thing. I'm kidding. But
But who does these days? I mean, there's many ways to talk about male and female, and I think J.K. Rowling is the perfect person to do it.
Yeah, she's a yeah, but I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, no, him and kind of all my brothers, like at least on Instagram, lately have been sharing a lot of social justice content, which is great.
Do you think like when a young
brother attended a march in our town? That was awesome.
Wow.
And then my 20-year-old brother, actually, I think he's like he goes to Temple, and I know he's doing some work there, like in terms of like helping to defund the police.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then as an older brother, like when the youngest brother comes to you, or he's able to talk so intelligently and nuanced about gender fluidity or gender identity, do you think that he's ever going to come out as anything? Like, like I'm just like, as a brother, as a sibling, when somebody else in your family talks so kind of knowingly and passionately about a certain thing, like are you ever curious that there's something there that he'll ultimately tell you?
I mean, it's possible, it's their privacy, it's their life, supportive of whatever gender identity he'll ever take on.
So you just kind of wait and see, and if he ever wants to come out to you as something or other, like, you will be supportive at that time.
Yeah, of course. Also, like, I don't know if like gender studies are necessarily like excluded from anyone. So like it's kind of cool of a cisgender person to think of it very critically. I think that allows them to have a deeper empathy.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Right.
Did you read the J.K. Rowling essay apology thing, and what did you think about
it? Unfortunately, I only read the first half, I believe.
Yeah, it was about that worthy of your attention.
Yeah, no, after that I was ready to clock out. I didn't have that much time for transphobic content. But congrats to her for conjuring up whatever she needed to fit her narrative.
Yeah.
Kind of alarming. Someone who came up with a stupid fucking fantasy world can envision more than two genders, but
That's good. That's a good fucking joke, man. Have you? I mean, is that something that you're going to talk about? I mean, have you talked about that in your articles?
I haven't. Someone else, a redactress, has written a headline on J.K. Rowling, and
Okay.
I think they summed it up pretty well. That I think the headline was something like J.K. Rowling, actually, never mind. I'm sick of talking about this bitch. And yeah, I think we're in agreement. We're not gonna really give her any more airtime.
Yeah, I mean, what like what do you think about cancel culture? Like, do you think that there are people like J.K. Rowling who just fucking they live too long and they're in the public eye too long. They're so out of touch that at some point we should just fucking cancel them altogether. And I don't mean the Twitter cancel, but just take them off platform because it's like, dude, you guys, I mean, you gave me a series of books and they were good books at the time, I thought, and you're just fucking like you're talking about shit that has nothing to do with the thing that we're interested in, which is the wizarding universe.
Yeah, it's interesting because you know, she's not excluded just because she's older than some of us who are a little more aware of gender expression. Like that doesn't necessarily, I mean, trans people have existed forever. It doesn't exclude her from not knowing or respecting them or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's hard to kind of pinpoint in the whole cancer culture conversation because, I don't know if transphobia ever was like a subtle kind of oppressive thing in her writing, or like, if she took up space from a trans writer that could have, kind of had a literary empire like J.K. Rowling. It's really hard to say. I don't know. That's a hard one because the Harry Potter books and movies, did a lot of positive things for people.
Yeah.
Um,
And is
I
there,
don't
yeah,
know. I don't know if she's outright canceled. She's definitely on probation. It's hard to say too. I'm cis. I don't know.
is there
I don't
anybody,
know exactly the type of hate and abuse her words have caused.
yeah, yeah, she really took her megaphone and she used it to make fun of trans people. It was like, talking about a certain bathroom bill in Scotland or something like that. Go ahead and fucking legislate, lobby the legislators behind closed doors, but don't fucking make fun of trans people with your big giant megaphone with tens of millions of followers or whatever.
Yeah, I'll encourage everyone to smash the unfollow button, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Until we know that she's a little more empathetic to everyone.
Yeah. And is there any books
Or
from your
sympathetic.
childhood that kind of I don't know, taught you lessons that were analogous to the Harry Potter thing, the good versus evil? Like what books did you get into back when you were young?
Oh man. So long ago, I'm so old.
Yeah.
Definitely read the Harry Potter books. I remember The Kite Runner being a great, enlightening book. A lot of the details are lost on me now. It's probably been like 10 years since I read it.
But yeah,
Uh, my,
what are the lessons that you think everybody should learn? Like you mentioned empathy. Like what are the things growing up that people, people of a certain age should be exposed to through any sort of book series or whatever? Empathy and what else?
um, Awareness of other environments, perspective, experiences, things like that. Absolutely. Um, I think historical nonfiction is, really important to know. But some of the kind of fictional narratives that people piece together, maybe like if it's a historical period piece, anything like that, anything that helps kind of like illuminate your understanding of someone else's experience. You're not going to necessarily know it because it's not your lived experience, but I think anything that broadens your world is really helpful towards empathy.
And do we think that stand-up comedy is kind of a way to do that? Like I think now,
Yeah.
I interview so many comedians and they each have such a wonderful story that's, that I had no idea. They come in and I had no idea that they had this fucking backstory. And I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that you fucking, brought that to my attention. And then I ask, are you talking about that on stage? And some of them have yet to do so. And so, yeah, what are some of the, I mean, what is the role of kind of, teaching people about your experience? Does what role is it in stand-up comedy? Like do you see a lot of stand-up comedies kind of do you see a lot of stand-up comics enlightening audiences via their act, and are you doing that as well?
Absolutely. I definitely see that happening here in Brooklyn. Can't I don't know about Manhattan. I don't know if I've been venturing out enough to see it.
Yeah, at least in
Or if I've
Brooklyn, at
been,
least in Brooklyn.
yeah, no, people are absolutely popping off in Brooklyn. No, I definitely see it here. I think it's great. Stand up is probably one of the best ways to connect with someone in real time. So once you connect with someone and, you know, the audience is really tuning in and you're kind of giving your autobiographical bits and jokes and whatnot, I think that's really powerful.
And what are some of those things from your life that you're talking about on stage?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm that intelligent. A
Or
lot of stupid shit that I laugh
are you observational with your material or autobiographical?
about. A bit of both. I feel like I lean more autobiographical because, you know, it's stand up is narcissism at its best. So why not talk about myself?
And so, yeah, who are some of the people who are making it into your act? I mean, is your 15-year-old brother doing so?
Is my 15-year-old brother doing? No, I try not to make fun of anyone I know like
Okay.
that, you know, because I love them deeply. Um, but I don't know who do I make fun of. I grew up in the Poconos, which is kind of like a random rural tourist area.
Yeah.
I talk about that a lot.
You talk about dating or whatever? Because you can make fun of people who you dated.
Yes, I absolutely make fun of my exes. I think they gave me that sign permission. I didn't make any of them sign an NDA, so like, what fucking ever. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you wrong me, you're pretty much dead, and I get full rights to your life.
And they probably know you're a comedy writer anyway, so they know what they're getting into.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm dating you, I'll flat out be like, "Hey, I'm never gonna make fun of you. Don't worry. Like, you don't have to worry around me." But then if you're my ex, I'm like, "Yeah, you're absolutely done, and I'm going to drag you left and right every opportunity I get."
I love that.
Am I a hypocrite? You know, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you got
And
to
I think it's tough.
you got to say what you got to say to seal the deal, man. And if you tell somebody you're going to make fun of them later, you might not get with that person.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a great kind of trap to ensure that someone is with me forever.
And so,
Um,
and even in your day, in the reductress thing, like, what is worthy of your time? Like, whatever, if some of these things are headlines or short blurbs, you pretty much can churn out whatever funny thing gets into your head. Like, if it was a long think piece or something, you have to ask, okay, is this funny thing worth my time?
yeah, I think I don't know so they have different sections. I guess you're referring. There's like a section called thoughts. It kind of is like think pieces. It's a lot of the headlines I think of for those are like, you know, things I've been seeing online that people are sharing, or like kind of a general trend I've noticed with my like people around me. Like I remember kind of in the Louis C.K. There was this think piece I was thinking of the other day that I wrote for that website. I love calling it a think piece. It's like grounded in no actual true and analytical skills, but there's one called "Should We Really Cancel the Careers of Men Who Ruin the Careers of Others?" and it,
Wow,
and it
that's
came out
good.
around. Yeah, thank you. It came out around the time I was thinking about Louis C.K. a lot because like he was trying to have a comeback after his experiences started getting published. Um, and you know, people were kind of questioning like, oh, should we allow this guy back in, even though he absolutely destroyed the careers of people who were underneath him the entire time that helped catapult him to the top? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, we should have canceled him a while ago.
Yeah.
Um,
And what
so
about,
just like,
what about there? Is there a spectrum of creepiness? Like where's Cosby versus Chris D'Elia versus Louis C.K. on the whole inappropriate or rape in certain situations? So I suppose Cosby's on one end of the spectrum. Who's on the least creepy other end of the spectrum? Is it somebody like Aziz Ansari?
yeah, I guess I've never thought about it as like a spectrum like that, but yeah. Yeah, no, there's definitely some gray area in terms of accountability. But yeah, no, Aziz is kind of on the left side. I actually remember the one time I went to Comedy Cellar, he dropped in, and this is before maybe a year before his last Netflix special came out.
Okay.
And he discussed some of the things that came up in the Netflix special, but it was also like too soon to when that Babe.net piece came out. And I felt really uncomfortable sitting there being like, I'm not sure if I should be like enjoying this by any means.
Yeah.
um,
And
I don't
should
know. He's a hard one to kind of frame in terms of that conversation.
and it's kind of taking you prisoner because you bought tickets before you knew he'd pop in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I didn't buy the tickets. It was a gift, but
Well, yeah, at least you're able to write an article afterwards. Did you write anything? I mean, it sounds like you wrote about Louis C.K. Did you write about Aziz or anybody else who's canceled?
Did I write about anyone else who's canceled? I think I left Aziz alone. It's so hard. I have such a long career already of just coming after men, but um, no, I don't think I went after Aziz Ansari. But if he, if the shoe fits,
Yeah.
if he finds a joke and he's like, "That's about me," you wrote that, I'll just be like, "Yeah, sure." Like, feel bad.
Yeah, sure. I subtweeted you plenty, and I think that's probably not a spectrum. It's probably just black and white. It was either illegal or inappropriate, or unethical, and probably all the above. And so you don't get on a spectrum. You just get fucking canceled outright. It's just so sad that some of these things are happening on Twitter where they jump at any opportunity to cancel stupid fucking shit now. Stupid, and it's kind of watering, like cancel Burger King or some shit. And it's like, dude, you're killing the whole hashtag. I mean, it used to mean something.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone try to cancel Burger King yet. That's
I forgot what that was, but cancel. I suppose there was a good reason to cancel Starbucks at some point because they wouldn't let their employees wear the Black Lives Matter attire. But sometimes it's just it's really watering it down. It used to be just kept for people like the Louis C.K. and the Crystalia. It's so knee jerk and before things were proved at all. Like, and I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. Like, let this stuff come out, but yeah, find a new fucking hashtag, or maybe they should that should be a spectrum. It should be like the orange alert or the red alert, like the terrorism thing, where there's actually levels of cancellation on Twitter now.
Yeah, no, I do think we should set up some type of department in Twitter
Well,
to
dude,
oversee that, some governing authority.
I can't.
I think the most painful thing is what's his name, Crystalia?
Yeah.
I did not know who this man was until I just recently learned he was canceled. So I'll actually never forgive Twitter for bringing him into my attention.
Yeah, like, and we talked trash about him even before we learned about this, just because his later specials weren't funny at all. And so, but if there's anybody who's going to create these, discuss and create and make funny these levels of Twitter cancellation, it's Brandon Follick, and we follow him at Follick Acid, and also you can find him at Brandon_Follick, and there you're going to see some pictures of his Star Bar monthly show, Girls, but also there's a bi-weekly with Paige Smith Hogan and another person, Michelle Davis. And because you both are so great, I'm going to have to look up Michelle Davis right now if I don't follow her already. So Brandon Follick, Brandon Follick, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me. This was awesome.